to episode 9 of Harvesting Our Wellbeing as Educators. My name is Hugh Fitzmaurice. I'm a secondary school teacher in Dublin.
Hello, I'm Maura O'Higgins and I'm a chaplain in a city centre school in Dublin.
So hello to everyone. Sorry, Maura, sorry to come across you. So hello to everyone, and this week we're looking at awareness of breath and education. Awareness of breath and education. And I suppose we're looking at how important that is and what it means to us as educators, and how can it make a difference on our day-to-day in schools, in our classrooms. How can it make a difference to us as educators for our well-being and to our students? And I suppose our own experience of how being aware of the breath, being mindful of it, can change things, can change our perceptions of our day at school, and can open up new portals of possibility. Maura, I'll pass it over to you. What are your thoughts, first of all, on the breath?
Why don't we do a moment's drop into a moment's pause and an awareness of our breath.
Wonderful. Yeah, sounds good.
Great. And a way I find of bringing myself to an awareness is to lower my eyes or close them and bringing our attention to our breathing, in through the nose and out through the nose, following the breath. And that simple exercise in becoming aware of our breathing, for me, it drops me into stillness and an awareness of everything around me. Like the sounds I hear that are more heightened when I'm still. It also helps me to be in the moment. And I think in education, at second level, it can be so frantic and busy and fractured. I mean, the day is broken into bells and breaks, and I think the natural flow of how we are as human beings is interrupted by this model that we've created that came from the industrial era, that we just haven't adapted to how young people are, how we are, how human beings are. And I just think as a result, I mean, you spoke about this earlier, Hugh, when we do have interactions with our colleagues or with children, and if there's any negativity in the engagement, in the interaction, we can begin to hold our breath instead of being in the moment and allowing our breath and allowing ourselves to respond naturally. We go into this unnatural state of holding our breath or ignoring our breath. And I think I find certainly in the classroom, what I do is I drop in and do these drop-in meditations with the children, and it just brings us all to a space of where we're all equal, and a space where breathing as a collective just deepens our humanity. Now that might sound a bit wishy-washy, but it isn't. It's a very different experience being in a classroom when we have become aware of our breath.
Thank you, Maura. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. I think that the quotation, or the peace of mind is always available to me in the present moment. Peace of mind is always available to us in the present moment. And that comes with breath. And I think what you said there, yeah, schools are all about, we said it before, people, relationships, and people are moving, and there's a lot going on, and conversations and listening and all that. And central to all that is the breath. And I have had moments, as you said there before, where there's been, in a moment, a conflict, or it could be just a disagreement with a staff member or disagreement with a student. And I've held my breath, like it's been up here in the chest, that kind of, or stress that's caught up here, where I didn't have awareness of the ability to breathe deeply, and that quotation that Thich Nhat Hanh has said, the peace is every breath. Peace is every breath. Now, it still can be very challenging, but if I can breathe deeply, right into the tummy, such, the navel area, deep breath in, deep breath out, it can make such a difference, because it can help you, the gap between stimulus and response. The stimulus may be the student who's causing trouble, or you're having a disagreement with a staff member and you're on your way to class or something like that, and then how you respond or how you react, there's a gap. And within that gap is the ability to breathe, take the breath to calm things down, on a cellular level, calm things down within, and be able to listen to it, not react to it. And even if something happens, to just give it time to reflect, so then you can respond. And I think it's just, on an energy level, like the breath is energy for the cells. It's energy for our body, oxygen, taking it in. So if we can, instead of being, I said, caught up here when we're stressed, it's these shallow breaths, or it's me holding my breath when I'm in a moment of conflict. But if I can let that go and breathe in, then there's an opportunity to reflect upon the moment, or let the moment go. Let the moment go. So, at the end of the day, just let it go. That can be very difficult, very difficult. But look, they're fleeting moments. By holding on, they can upset us. And I know that, often in between classes, if I just slow down, and we're walking to classes now, obviously at the moment with COVID and all that, we're walking from class to class. If I can slow it down and take a few breaths, it helps my energy level, helps my state as I enter the classroom. And Maura, you're an MBSR trained mindful teacher, so you're a specialist on the breath, and I know you've great experience with it, and I'm just learning as I go and learning from listening to you and different people. So I think it's wonderful to have yourself on this subject as well, just that idea of the mindful breath and what you did there in the moment, stillness, to doing that can make a big difference.
Well, it's interesting, Hugh. I used to think I was great because I meditated, and I realize now with discernment that no, I am a better human being when I meditate. I need meditation. I need to know about what it is that I've trained to do, to learn how to breathe well. Also, do you know what? It's like a muscle in your mind. It's something we have to train at. We have to practice it, because it doesn't come easily. Sometimes silence and stillness can become quite violent and punishing. So it's about understanding, being in the present moment collectively, without judgment. And it's a lovely thing happened. I was doing a pop-up meditation with a group of TYs, transition year students, the other day, and there was a young lad, a Mauritian student, and I asked the class if they knew why we meditated, and there was a pause, and a child said, for focus. And for focusing, and I said, you're spot on. I said, what have you done that has you with this awareness? And he said, I'm a jiu-jitsu student, and the martial arts, they do it all the time. And I could see some of the local children looking at him kind of, how does he know that? And when we did the meditation, he dropped straight away into the deep state, and others would have struggled and looked around and And we were all collectively breathing together after a few moments. But it was lovely that this was culturally where he was coming from, and that's what he brought to the TY class. The other thing, Hugh, that it's in my head when responding to what you said, John Kabat-Zinn talks about non-striving. And when we bring an awareness to our breathing, we're not striving. We're simply aware, without judgment, without trying too hard. We're simply becoming aware moment by moment. And it also brings me to something that I struggle with, which Thich Nhat Hanh and so many Buddhists speak of, which is non-attachment. And when I am breathing with awareness, there is no attachment. I am simply breathing for as long as I need to breathe. And I'm one with nature. And it's given me a real appreciation of equanimity, and also a charter for nature that I think we should have in this country. Because we're all part of nature, and we should allow nature to breathe in the best way possible. So by practicing breathing and awareness of it, I am practicing non-attachment, I'm practicing non-striving, and I'm practicing without judgment. Every day, every moment of every day.
Yeah, and isn't that so powerful with, you know, on the outside level, schools are about striving for points, competition, judgment, comparisons. This is what kids are facing, and teachers are facing sometimes, you know, on a day-to-day basis. And here is a space where where there is no judgment, where it's a space of, Herman Melville has called it an insular Tahiti. An insular Tahiti. This kind of like, I love the phrase. It was in a book I saw, insular Tahiti. This kind of space of calm and inner oasis, a cathedral of the heart. You know, that just beautiful cathedral of the heart is a lovely phrase. So that space where just things can calm down. You can let go of the judgment, let go of that sense of striving, as you said, non-striving, and be. And when we do that, our concentration goes up, our awareness goes up, our ability to collaborate goes up, our ability to listen goes up. If we're caught in our minds of comparisons and this striving and this endless stress that sometimes we bring on ourselves that's not needed, and this comparing, with social media and in the lives of young people and in the lives of teachers, adults, it's very hard to think clearly. But as you said there with John Kabat-Zinn about that non-striving, that non-judgmental, that letting go, it just helps. There's studies, scientific studies saying how mindfulness and just that ability to, as you said, letting go, come back to ourselves, coming home to ourselves, creates a sense of where you can learn, and I do, I'm not trained in MBSR, but at the start of class, from a little bit of knowledge I have, we do a moment of mindfulness. So we take box breathing, where we breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 2 seconds, out for 5 seconds, or even maybe listen to a piece of music. And I know when we do just take that moment of stillness, we just calm things down. I'm saying, if you can feel it, it's palpable in the room. There's a sense of calm and relaxation, and for me, and with the lads as well, and they're used to it now. Me going, not every class, but after lunch, first thing in the morning, maybe in the evening, and sometimes at the end of class, just to let go. It doesn't need to be constant on. We can just calm, and I think it's very, very important. That that idea of cultivating a loving relationship with ourselves that is part of the breath. Just relaxing, just being, not striving, being. And then that opens up again, with the cellular level of dopamine, oxytocin comes back in, and we can, more at ease we are and calm within ourselves, then we can learn. If you're constantly up here all the time, high low in your head, so how can you learn? How can you teach clearly? When instead of being on the autopilot, being present. So I think it's just centerpiece to education, as you said, about nature. Like, nature breathes, on its own cyclical level. We are part of nature. You know, nature is breathing now at the moment. It's letting go. It's coming into winter time, and leaves are being let go. And so that idea of ways of breathless, in awe of something is connected to the breath. You know, breathtaking. You know, so it's just essential. Taking a moment, as you said, not where we're not striving, we're being, and then working from there.
It's true, Hugh. And maybe to finish our conversation for now around breath and education, will we drop into a moment's stillness?
We will indeed. Thank you, Maura. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh.
Thank you, Maura, and thank you for listening.